First, I'm going to talk about my journey from Sudan to United States, and then I will talk about my vision, what I want to do to the people of Southern Sudan, and then I will talk a little bit about the politics of Sudan today, what's going on in Sudan. So, my journey to United States started in a very bad way. It was around 4 a.m. when our village was on fire. The village was attacked by the people of the north, the government from the northern Sudan. I was sleeping, and my mom ran toward me and woke me up. And she gave me a shirt and pointed to the bush. She pointed to the direction and said, "John, go, don't come back, and don't look back." And the gunshot was going on everywhere in the village.
How old were you, John?
I was 8 years old. And that was the last time I saw my mom. I didn't see her again. So it was very difficult for my mom to let me go. But she knew there was no any other alternative. Otherwise, I would be killed. So she said, "Just go and don't come back." I left. That was the time I left Sudan. When I left home, running through the bush, I met a lot of boys and girls who also running for their life. And they left their home because of the same situation that happened to me. We all joined together and we worked to go to Ethiopia. We walked for more than 1,000 miles. We were walking on a barefoot. There's no shoes on. We don't have blanket. We don't have bed sheet. We sleep on the floor at night. We walk through the bush, not on the road or away, because we are fearing we can get in trouble with those. We also lost a lot of our because they were eaten by lions and the other wild animals in the bush. Some brothers and sisters, because of thirsty, we can stay for day and a night without water. Some people die because of hunger. We can spend 2 days, 3 days, there's no food. We survive on a wild fruits. We end up in Ethiopia. Thanks God, the United Nations, UNHCR, came over to Ethiopia and started giving us food and clothing us too. We stayed in Ethiopia for 4 years, and there was a war in Ethiopia between the government and the rebel. The war in Ethiopia forced us to leave Ethiopia again and go back to Sudan. The government was overthrown, and the rebel didn't want us to stay in Ethiopia. In fact, they were shooting at us, chasing us out from Ethiopia. So we were running, going back to Sudan. Before we reached Sudan, we came across a river, a very big river called River Gilo. And these rebels were shooting at us. And we have to cross this river. We have to swim and go on the other side of the river. We don't know how to swim. We didn't have more options. There were only 2 options. You stay on the river bank and get shot, or you jump into the river and die there because you cannot swim. In that river, the number of lost boys and girls we lost there is very, very huge. A lot of them were shot on the river bank. A lot just dived into the river and they didn't come up again. I was one of the luckiest to escape that situation. They take us along the river, they tied the ropes on the river banks on the other side for us to cross. So we crossed holding on to that ropes and go to the other side of the river. We came to Sudan. There was still war going on in Sudan. So we again left Sudan and came to Kenya. That's where I was for 12 years in Kakuma refugee camp, where Rolly went before he met me. We stayed in camp for 12 years, and that is where I started learning English. That's where we start going to school. US decided they wanted to take these lost boys and bring them over to the United States. So I arrived in Tucson on May 19, 2004. So I was one of the luckiest again to come to the United States. Not every lost boys and girls who fill out the form in Kakuma refugees came here. A lot of them did not make it. They remain there until now. Some of them decided to go back to Sudan. Some say, I don't have anybody in Sudan. I'm not going to go back. They're still in the camp until today. When I came here in Tucson, I started my life fresh. I want to, begin my life again. My first job was at the University Medical Center as a cook. I did that for 1 year, and I decided I want to go to school. So I studied at Pima Community College with English as a second language. And I spent 3 years at Pima Community College. Then in 2009, I was accepted at the University of Arizona. And 2 years from that time, last month on December 18, was my graduation day from the University of Arizona. I finally made it. My friend Barbara, I met her when I was 6 months here in Tucson. And she was very good, and she has been with me from that time until now. One day she called me to go to San Francisco and do a presentation on my life history. And that's where I met Rolly, Art, and other people for the first time. I talked to them, I told them my life history and my vision, what I wanted to do. The first thing they did was to let me go back home and meet my people, because I haven't seen them for 22 years. When I went home, the situation at that moment, I couldn't imagine how it looked like, because nobody believed I was alive. My dad was still alive, all my siblings. I have 5 sisters and 2 brothers. Everybody in the village was very, very happy to see me. But some people were crying. My dad was crying. He didn't know that I will one day come back home. And we all know that if the country is in war, there's a lot of disaster. So the whole village was torn apart. There is nothing at all. And in fact, it's the whole Southern Sudan. Women who in Africa do a lot of domestic work, they travel for 10 miles to get water in the village of Abul. 10 miles, that's round trip. And at the end, they come back with dirty water. This water is not a clean water. There are a lot of who want to learn. They are eager to go to school. But they are sitting under the tree. The chairs they sit on is a stone, not a chair. There's no chair there. They sit on the stone and listen to the teacher teaching. They only had one blackboard in the whole school that they shifted from class to another class. The teacher writes some things on the board, like let's say A, B, C, D, and after they take the blackboard, the kids go and sit down on the floor and make round and write the word down on the floor. at St. Francis, we formed the school board members. Last summer, I went back to Sudan, and I was there for 3 months. Before I reached the village, I bought a lot of notebooks, pens, pencils. I also went to the local place where they make a blackboard, and I bought 16 blackboard. So I went to the village with this school material for the first time in the village that they have blackboards, notebooks, and books. They never had this before. It was a very, very exciting time when they saw me coming to the village with the school materials. So the village elders sat down with me and asked a land where we can build a school. On November, the first well was drilled, and it is now pumping a clean water in the village of Abul. It has stopped the walking that women used to walk for 10 miles. Now they don't have to walk for 10 miles again. Our plan is to drill 3 wells, because that 1 well is not enough for 3,000 people in that village. I'm going back again on February next month with little that we have to begin the school building. That is the vision I have. The Sudan that has for more than 22 years, actually, has now come to the end. In 2005, a peace was signed between North and Southern Sudan. And in that peace, it was agreed that people from the South will have to vote whether they want the whole Sudan to be a united Sudan or they want to be an independent people from the North. This is widely believed that Southern Sudan will be an independent nation. We have suffered a lot from the government of the North. A lot of our brothers have been killed. Many were taken for slavery. A lot of sisters or mothers were been taken for concubine. All these things have been going on for a long time. The oil in the south is being taken to the north without getting any development in the south. So we say this is the end of it. We need to stop it. And on 27th of next month, we are going to hear a good news for the people of Southern Sudan.